Welcome to the 54th episode of Full Throttle, the Presidio Group's automotive industry podcast. I'm your host, Jason Stein, Managing Director at Presidio. This is where leaders from across the industry share their insights, their challenges, and their vision for the future of automotive retail. Appreciate you being with us.
We live where the guests are virtually and physically more than most, right? That's all we talk about is how do we build relationships, not how do we sell cars or service cars. How do we build relationships? Because if we truly care about the guests, right, we'll earn that business and they'll be here for the long haul. It's not transactional. It's not one transaction and we're done. It's how do we secure and water seeds and pour into them, whether it's beneficial for us today or not, or it's just helping someone out and letting that reciprocate down the road like we all should do. We should be lifting people up. That's what God put us on this planet for.
Few dealer groups have experienced the kind of rapid growth seen at LaFontaine Automotive Group. What started as a family business has now grown into 43 dealerships and 57 franchises, powered by more than 3,000 employees, and a culture that Ryan LaFontaine describes as family deal DNA. The expansion hasn't just been about scale. It's been about maintaining culture, investing in people, and preparing for what comes next. In today's episode, Ryan explains how this group has balanced rapid acquisitions with an unwavering focus on culture, training, and leadership development. He also talks about why he's adding new luxury brands alongside Mitsubishi and Infiniti, as well as his push into technology and AI to enhance the customer journey. And of course, we talk about the opportunities and risks that come with tariffs, EV incentives, and changing consumer demand. Ryan also shares how LaFontaine is investing in its technician workforce, opening doors to new career paths and creating long-term stability for the business. And beyond the showroom, Ryan gives us a glimpse into some personal passions, some of which end up on the homepage of ESPN. This is Full Throttle with Ryan LaFontaine.
I'm Ryan LaFontaine, and this is Presidio's podcast, Full Throttle.
Ryan, great to have you with us here. Great to see you again.
Oh, happy to have you, man. Happy to be here. Obviously, happy to be involved in this as always. Thanks, Jason.
I know you've had a really busy summer. You've had some dealership news going on this summer. To update us a little bit on where you are now. 43 dealerships and 57 franchises. You have not been sitting around.
No, it's been busy. It's been busy. So this year, I look at this year really as that the year of investing in our stores and making sure our culture, our DNA, our family style is in each and every store. Last year, we were on rapid growth. We purchased 9 stores, right, and many diverse franchises. So when you look at that, bring on franchise you've never had before, especially in luxury, it takes a lot of time, a lot of commitment, a lot of culture building. And then this year, we've had so many constructions projects going on, including a couple add points. We have a new Okemos Chrysler full-line store, our Stellantis full-line store coming on board. Also a new Hyundai Genesis store in Commerce, as well as adding on 3 Mitsubishis, as well as I think we've had 10 different construction projects finally come to the final closings and completions. So yeah, we've been busy pouring in obviously our 3,000 employees.
Amazing. When you handle that kind of expansion over such a short period of time, how does that stress the organization and how have you dealt with it?
So the stress always comes down to people, right? Your biggest asset, right? Are you ready for that expansion? Do you have the people that you've been grooming up, that you've been pouring into, that you've been developing, that on-bench circle, right? Or on-deck circle, obviously, of sorts. And we're blessed in that category that we have. And even though I will tell you this, 9 stores at that rapid of a time in that local scenario, it stretched us. So what we looked at is really bringing on that next version of on-deck circle of people that we can be pouring into to be ready to backfill those positions. Because not only do you have growth, you have promotions naturally throughout the company. So we've elevated, and I will tell you, 95% of the promotion in this company are people from within. So I pour into it, making with the teams each and every day, which makes it harder to have that on-deck circle ready. So it stresses from all perspectives, right? Including process. When you buy a brand new store, right? Of course, there might be great culture and there are great processes. It's just not our culture, not our way, not our process. Merging those and getting them all to obviously see how we see things and how we do things, right? To have that full circle kind of come through and get them to believe in that family deal culture. The word family isn't just words to us, it's how we live each and every day. So to believe that through, and obviously culture obviously takes time and commitment and being there, being present.
And I know your culture and your values are rich. They are shared throughout the organization. It's something that you personally take a lot of pride in driving through the organization. When you're onboarding so many at such a fast clip, I'm imagining you've got to stay on the cultural piece as much as you possibly can, just to make sure that you're
It's
bringing everybody along.
It's 100%. Not only just me, what I've realized is one, any manager type position or really customer facing positions of this company, I interview probably 95% of them personally. Want to know them, not want to get to know them and them to get to know me. And it's not from a control standpoint. I just want to make sure I look in their heart and see who they are. They have that integrity, that grit, that passion, right? That integrity, obviously, that we can sit here and trust them. And do they care? Do they fit into that culture, right? And then we invest in them with what we call family deal training, which I also attend, and all my managers, all my leaders attend, and we pour into them for obviously any onboarding to make sure they understand our past, where we came from, right? The history and where we're going, how we, are different than our competition, or what makes us our whys and hows, and how we grow and how we do things. So we pour into it every day and then we live it, right? We say our mission statement every day before every single meeting, doesn't matter what the store or what the call. We bleed it through our actions because otherwise they're just words. But yes, I say every day, all day, even starting obviously at 7 a.m. with our morning calls, all the way through the day, culture is being exuded, and I try to lead by example in that scenario. I'm not an absentee guy. I'm in one of those 43 stores every single day, grinding side by side with our teams from the front lines.
You and I have talked about M&A quite a bit, and obviously you've been on the acquisition side the last couple of years. Are you good now? Are you looking for more? Do you want to expand beyond the geography of Michigan?
Yeah, we're at that stage. I've been very disciplined because I have 5 kids and a beautiful wife at home, and I'm trying to sit here and make sure I prioritize my life, faith, family, friends. And for me, that's been a discipline because when you go outside of state, it stretches even further, which is something I've had many conversations with other personal friends about in their businesses. But when you look at it, we're already stretched with 43. My kids are all in high school, so we're at that stage now that we can kind of evolve and really bring on multi-states, and also not just for me, because it's an army of people that pour in every day, making sure they're ready to stretch. Because every store, right, the way they work successfully is being at them, right? So it's a commitment of time and resources and talent from our RDMs to our brand managers to our directors, all the way through to our CFO, everyone pouring into it. And I want to make sure we don't take away from the stores that we obviously have today, but we're at that stage. We've been blessed, obviously, with the growth, but blessed with the biggest asset of people. And yes, we do want to expand. We want to continually expand. I've been discerning on not doing it this year for a reason, to make sure we're 100% build up the stores to, especially when you expand that fast, with the way we want them with our culture. But now going into fourth quarter and especially in the next year, there will be opportunities we'll be looking at to grow, obviously, and it could include outside of state.
You're taking some bets on some interesting brands. You added 2 Mitsubishi stores, right?
Yep.
You've added an Infiniti store. You have a dual showroom with an Infiniti store.
Yep.
You believe in those brands, right?
I do. I look at where Mitsubishi is today is where a few other ones that are successful now were 10 years ago. There's a lot of good stuff going on there and how they're approaching things and their quality of vehicles. And I'm one of those guys that obviously is not willing to kind of buck the curve, right? When others aren't looking at it or shining away from it, I'm willing to embrace it and say maybe this is the opportunity to grow with the franchise as they grow. You brought up Infiniti. Infiniti, obviously, look at where their products are going to be 5 years from now. It's not just where it's at today, right? So you have to really do your research behind it all, and then make sure you obviously are going to be committed to it, because every brand deserves, from the top down, full support on everything we do. But I believe that those two have great futures, right? Especially in segments others have vacated, right? That low cost, low payment type vehicle, a lot have risen above, and their payments have gone up, 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 and up. But yet credit out there is challenged right now, and people are going through through a lot from a debt to equity ratio and struggling obviously in that regards. So we got to make sure that we have something for everyone, right? From the lowest entry point all the way to the highest entry point. We want to keep them as a customer for life, and whatever that journey is, or maybe their child needs an inexpensive car, like we got to be ready and set for something that will fill those or suit those needs, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and speaking of portfolio, you've also you're on the other end of it too. You've also gone high end. You're adding some luxury stores as well. So you kind of have everything from one end to the other.
Diversification is something I learned young. My dad obviously started his career with a Toyota store, right, in Dearborn, Michigan, which back in the 80s, right, wasn't the
Hmm.
most popular decision when it was Ford country,
Yeah.
right? So we learned through imports. And then my mom obviously had our Pontiac Cadillac GMC store in 84. So we learned domestic imports and the importance of that. And what I really learned is customers have different seasons, different chapters, different times they want other things. But there's a cost of a customer. You got to look at when you lose a customer, let's say maybe they wanted that GM vehicle this time, but you know what? The son wanted the Subaru. When we can't provide for the son, we lose that service work. We lose that trading. We lose that lease turning. We lose obviously that future business. We lose a repeat business from Aunt Betty and Uncle Jim. We lose. There's a lot bigger cost. So what we want to do is capture every customer and have something for whatever stage in life they are as they progress through their journey or their success trip or whatever their needs are. We want to be that one-stop shop to keep them with us so we can retain all of that and retain them for whatever that journey looks at. So we look at the big picture, and in some stage, God willing, we're all in the standpoint we can afford an Aston Martin, right? Whatever that may be. So we want to round out obviously that with luxury, with Mercedes and all those aspects, and really bring on each portfolio, and we're ready for it. We really have a phenomenal culture of people. I'm so proud of our teams. They pour into it, right? But we live it every day. Like we live where the guests are virtually and physically more than most, right? That's all we talk about is how do we build relationships, not how do we sell cars or service cars. How do we build relationships? Because if we truly care about the guests, right, we'll earn that business and they'll be here for the long haul. It's not transactional. It's not one transaction and we're done. It's how do we sit here and water seeds and pour into them, whether it's beneficial for us today or not, or it's just helping someone out and letting that reciprocate down the road like we all should do. We should be lifting people up. That's what God put us on this planet for.
More than brands, or just as much as brand diversification, you're also into technology diversification, and you try a
Very much
lot
so.
of different stuff. Tell me a little bit about that. What have you learned in that tech journey, and what are you most interested in right now?
So the tech journey it's a journey, just like you said, that's for
Yeah.
sure. And it's obviously trials and tribulations. I think the key with technology is integration, right? When you look at integration, right, you got no one has time. So when you go through a portal, when you're obviously a service obviously advisor, or if you're a sales consultant, or if you're a manager, time is everything. If you have to jump out of each portal to use technology, it's not efficient. So first and foremost, finding technology that will integrate from your DMS out, right? All the way through, including obviously from your phone journey, obviously to AI, and however it's produced, or marketing, measuring it, right? Accountability, CRM, right? So it's finding that. But looking at the technologies that keeps on changing, especially in the world of AI, I'd say we have a huge investment going on in regards to looking at AI and how it works for us from the customer journey, right? Not just sales. Everyone focuses on sales. I'm looking at service. I'm looking at parts. I'm looking at body shop. I'm looking at phone calls. I'm looking at opportunities for looking at data, right, of hundreds and hundreds of thousands of customers that maybe aren't active anymore and how to reactivate them. So there's so many ways to use that technology to grow and find efficiencies. And that's the other key is measuring it, right? Because otherwise, what you're seeing with dealers are struggling with expenses keep on going up because we keep on adding technology, adding tools, adding this, adding that, right? But your gross margins are going down. So you're at a boiling point that we have to make decisions on the right technology. And sometimes everything's a shiny penny, and we've done that. But I want to be a leader in this space. So I have guys like Carlos Mojica that I call my Swiss Army knife. Him and his team of RDMs, they're looking at the future. They're looking 5 years out, and we want to be the trend center and grow that space, right? Not reactionary. So we're always looking at market trends to say, what do we need to do to better the guest journey? So everything always starts and stops. Does it better, obviously, that building that relationship? Does it create a better, obviously, experience, whether it be sales or service for the guests? If the answer is not, then we're not going with it. right? And some say and show, and every time we demoed it, man, it's the best thing ever. And then when it gets deployed, it doesn't work, right? So we have to pivot quickly because you can really have an impact, especially with your phone system, if you have AI or any of those technologies answering your phone system and it's not routing properly. We ran into that problem. You could really cost yourself a lot of customers as much as grow them if you're not inspecting afterwards. So if anyone thinks it's, hey, put it in, I'm done, let's move on, you're wrong. You got to live with it side by side, whatever the technology is, and make sure it's working whatever application and it integrates back from every aspect and nothing changes and it's growing the business, not hurting the business, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Two more topics, tariffs and EVs. Tariffs first. How's your business adjusting? Why? I mean, what's the impact that you're seeing?
So, I mean, you look at it, I feel like we've had pivot points and refocusing, especially on pre-owned vehicles, right? The pre-owned market is something obviously you consider independent each and every day, but each brand has gone through their different struggles when it comes to tariffs. But in all regards, it feels like it's level setting itself out from what the journey is going to be, right? We need to obviously have a system that's fair on all sides when it comes to trading, obviously, with other countries or buying and selling from other countries. So I'm not in that state of making those type of decisions. What I can look at is how do we react inside this market? And that's why you need to have diversification, right? One brand might be struggling with something, the other brand might be phenomenal with it. So you need to be able to sit here and make sure you have something for your guests. And that's what I've looked at throughout that process when it comes to brand diversification, or like you said, luxury to non-luxury, because it does have an impact when it goes to that. But I feel like we've had, when you go compare this year to last year, right, there's been so much improvement, right? The economy obviously and the confidence is building, right? The year has been phenomenally better and momentum going upwards. We're having record used car months and in many cases record new car months, right? All-time records in service and parts when it comes obviously overall, obviously gross and obviously effective labor rates and all those aspects. So there's many wins. Like we don't talk about the great, right? We talk about the few negatives, but I would say that the next fourth quarter and going to next year, right? I'm very optimistic and bullish in regards to where the market will go and what the opportunities are. And I think some of that comes down to mindset, how you approach it for sure.
There's a rush to get the $7,500 federal tax incentive, which ends September 30th. You seeing that on the
Oh,
ground?
it's not just a rush, it's a full out sprint. So I would say every dealer, I can't speak for every dealer. All of our stores are 100% focused, including even a countdown clock, making sure we don't miss any opportunity, obviously, for that before that expires, right? Some brands, it's devastating once that goes away with the vehicles we currently have on grounds. There's different, obviously, game plans post that the manufacturer have for what's coming in, but we have to be cognizant of the ground stock. So we've been really focused on the EVs to make sure we know what we have, what will be great post that time period, what will not be, because a lot of times we've ordered a lot of vehicles that maybe just we won't need to be stocking up that level. But there's still going to be an EV market. That's what we all got to remember. Maybe it's not the 100% people we're trying to say, but there's still going to be 15 to 20% that people that want that. I drove an EV, a Hummer EV for 2 years, drove the Escalade IQ. I fully believe in that vehicle. I just think that we have to adapt to what the consumer's telling us, right? The consumer's always going to tell you what they want, and I think you have to give them options between the three platforms, right? That's the best journey. Let them pick. Let them determine the future. People want choices. Let's decide between hybrid EV and obviously gas or ICE vehicles, which direction we're going to go, and have that platform for the consumer to be able to obviously make those best decisions. But yeah, it's a full out sprint to the end of the month. So if you know anyone looking for a vehicle in EV, let me know.
Actually, you just sparked one final question. You mentioned labor tech rates. How's your what's the state of your workforce, your techs, your labor? Are you like everybody else? I mean, you just need more encouraging people to go into that field. Where are we on that, Ryan?
Well, there 100% is demand and need, right? We've been blessed. We did something where we did warranty time and a half, where we pay everyone 50% more than their pay, obviously on warranty labor rates because of them not being able to maximize that. Manufacturers trying to minimize, obviously, what they pay out. So we don't turn over technicians. I will tell you, we have so many different programs we put out there for our technicians, our longevity program. We've added, I think we probably have added 300 technicians in the last year, right? right? I know we've added 400 hoists minimally, obviously, in the last year. So there's growth, which is why we have demand. But we've been blessed to be able to bring on more technicians than I think almost any dealer, obviously, in the state, because we're pouring into them, living with them, interviewing, obviously, them, talking to them, making sure we understand the way they tick. But there is a huge demand. So if there's ever a career force, you can go make a great living. I will tell you, my technicians and my salespeople are by far our highest compensated people inside the company. We invest in them heavily, right? And the technicians can make a phenomenal living. When you look at obviously technicians, I mean, we have technicians making north of $300,000 in investment. So when you look at a career path, right, where you can sit here and do something you're passionate about and make a phenomenal living providing for your family, right? It's something that we have to make sure these trades obviously are and people are going to school for and approaching, because I will tell you, it's a great living. And especially obviously where the technology is going, there's still huge opportunity. You might have to obviously sit here and embrace obviously all those EV, ICE, and obviously gas platforms, but that also allows for diversification in obviously the technician space. So yes, we need them. We've been blessed with how many we have and how we've grown, but I will tell you, there's more opportunities that we're not able to get to when it comes to inviting our guests in. So yes, we do need to expand that force and invest in that force and invest in the schools and the trade schools, obviously from that standpoint, and just pour into our younger generation, obviously for those opportunities.
Great. Final thing, Ryan, you and I are both big Detroit football fans, and we bumped into each other in various cities around the country at times when they've been on the road. But you also appear on in an unusual place. You've popped up in some unusual places. One of them is ESPN's homepage. And that was during the NFL draft when it was in Detroit a couple of years ago. I know this is a big deal for you. It's a big passion for you. Tell our listeners a little bit about the LaFontaine effect at the draft.
Oh, we go big at the draft. It's something I bring my kids, my wife. We get all decked out. I will tell you, I don't look like this. I go in full headgear, Super Bowl ring, right? I've even made it on that IPA, obviously, as a super fan. So we'll go deep. We get obviously all dialed up. We go to that draft, go to the Super Bowl, obviously go to the games, right? Yep. We're very, very much passionate about our Lions, pouring into them, and we obviously suit it through with what we wear. I'm okay if if you can't laugh at yourself, what's the point, right? So we go big, we have some fun, we have bedazzled out, and we support our Lions. And man, they had a great victory yesterday. I'm excited about those guys.
Amen. Amen. Well, we'll hope to see each other maybe at the big game at the end of the year, as opposed to watching other teams play at that time of year.
Yes, Ryan, that's God willing. Let's go.
Ryan, thank you so much for taking the time. Thanks for being on the program, and best of luck as you close out the fall.
Jason, I really appreciate it, man. You have a wonderful day. Thank you for having me on.
Thank you. That's the 54th episode of Full Throttle. Special thanks to my guest, Ryan LaFontaine. Thanks for listening. For a library of these episodes with industry leaders, go to thepresidiogroup.com. You can also find a library of these shows on the Presidio Group's YouTube channel. I'm your host, Jason Stein. We'll talk to you again next time.